Safe to fly? Europe's air safety authorities insisted they would ground Boeing's fleet of 777 passenger jets if there was a risk. America's air safety watchdog called for urgent engine changes to prevent any repeat of last year's BA crash at Heathrow. But more than 200 of the planes will stay in operation. This report by Julian Rush contains some flash photography.
What caused BA Flight 038 to suddenly lose power on final approach has been a mystery for over a year. But British crash investigators now believe they've finally pinpointed the problem: ice blocking fuel supplies to the engines. And now America's National Transport Safety Board is demanding immediate action. It says it fears it could happen again, resulting in more accidents and injuries. It already has. In November last year, a Delta Airlines 777 lost power in flight. The crew took action and the plane landed safely. Fuel on the Boeing 777 is stored in 3 tanks. The investigators found that the pipes to the engines could become lined by ice from water in the fuel as the outside air temperatures fell. And the tests found that if the pilots opened the throttles, which increased the flow of the fuel, it could dislodge the ice and block the inlet to a heat exchanger on the engine, which ironically is designed to warm the fuel and melt any tiny ice particles in it.
Flying is about teamwork, and we had an outstanding team on board yesterday.
The BA crew were hailed as heroes after they managed to crash land the plane without loss of life. Since the crash, pilots have been ordered to open the throttles in flight to clear the fuel pipes of ice.
In the case of the BA aircraft, it seems to be the act of increasing the throttle that's caused the vibration in the system to dislodge the large amount of ice. So if you increase the throttle earlier in the flight, then firstly, not so much ice will have had the chance to build up. So when it becomes dislodged, it won't be a problem. But secondly, if it's dislodged at that high altitude, then the high thrust setting is not required at that high altitude, so it's not so critical for flight safety if there was a blockage.
Europe's Aviation Safety Authority says the procedures mean 777s are safe to fly. The NTSB, though, says they're not sufficient to prevent it happening again, that they don't want the planes grounded.
Work has been ongoing between Boeing and Rolls-Royce to modify the particular area of the fuel system that caused this problem on that flight at Heathrow. That modification will be installed onto the airframes within a year or so.
Rolls-Royce expects to have the modified heat exchanger fitted to at least one engine of the aircraft that fly the most critical long-haul routes before winter, when temperatures fall and the risk is greatest.
Julian Rush. Now, a small town in Northern Ireland came to a standstill